Hey, Fred, what's an avulsion fracture involving the costochondral cartilage of the 11th rib?
Well, Matt, it's a specific type of injury that can cause pain in the back and side. Why do you ask?
I heard that Kutch is suffering from it right now, but I guess it could have been a lot worse.
You have to be careful when it comes to the back, Matt.
Still, I wish they had a better name for it.
When it happens to one of our star players, we just call it bad news.
On the brighter side, I hear Potato Pete is back.
Matt, now you're talking pierogies.
Welcome back to Bucco Banter. I'm one of your lovable hosts, Matthew Peaslee, and as usual, right by my side is...
I'm Fred Rossano.
Well, Fred, it's been a series of ups and downs for our Pirates this year. Would you agree with that?
Yes, young Matt. I find the occasional base running and defensive mistake quite disturbing.
True.
The hitting has been both hit and miss, and some mental mistakes have hurt us as well. But we're hanging in there.
We sure are. Well said, Fred. The record could be a lot worse than what it is right now. It's going to take a lot stronger effort here in the second half of the season. Wait a minute. You're not Fred Rossano. You're an imposter.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a one-boy, cuddly toy, my up, my down, my pride and joy. People, let me tell you about him. He's so much fun. Whether we're talking man to man or whether we're talking son to son, 'cause he's my best friend. Yeah, he's my best friend. La la, ba da 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 ya, ba da 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 ba, ba da 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 ya.
We're back, and I am Fred Rossano.
You sure about that? Yeah, give it a tug.
I'm sure.
Okay.
You know, Matt, don't be fooled by cheap imitations.
Right. Well, it's good to have you back, Fred.
Thank you.
And like he said, I'm Matt Peaslee, and we're going to get things started off with the biggest topic surrounding the Pirates this week has been key injuries to our star player, Andrew McCutchen. Has cartilage injury, cracked 11th rib, just a kind of a mess that he got over the weekend. And his presence was hurt in the first game against the Marlins with a loss. He came back, the Pirates won the other night.
Yeah, that's a tough blow for the Pirates. He's... I don't think they said he has never been on the
disabled list in 4 years playing. Yeah, it's remarkable.
But we'll see how it goes. Whatever the injury was, they don't know whether it's going to be similar to what an oblique injury would be, with the timeout being. But we'll find out.
Yeah, he hasn't gone on the disabled list just yet. I guess they kind of want to see if he can work through the problems to see if he can come back quicker, but I don't know if I want to risk that. I'd rather maybe give him 15 days rest and come back.
Oh, I'm sure they'll within the next couple of days here they'll make a decision if whether he's available to.
Right, and it's not just Andrew McCutchen. Neil Walker's been out of the lineup with back problems. I mean, he's kind of been injury prone almost his whole career. He had finger injuries and other back injuries, and we miss his presence there.
That's worrisome too, because he came back after 2 days, blamed it on his sleeping in beds away from home, but now it seems to have cropped up again right in the middle of the game the other night.
Right.
So that's kind of a rough thing to do there too.
Right.
To deal with.
Yeah, so two of our starters out. We can't. That's tough. And one of our starting pitchers has been out for a while now. And Garrett Cole, he's been on the disabled list twice this year. Finally making some rehab starts with AAA Indianapolis, and I think his first start down there he was pretty lights out, but then I think he got roughed up in his next start. But it'll be nice to have him back, hopefully in the next week or two.
They said they'll actually his second game was worse than the first, but they said that he was working on some other things. They said they weren't worried about his velocity being down, and you got to believe him from that standpoint. But at the same time, it's of some concern too. He's already been out a month now,
right.
And whatever problems he was having, he doesn't seem to be coming over him again.
Right, and the Pirates themselves, I mean, they're still about 7-8 games above 500, in a decent position in the division. They were on a roll in their West Coast trip. They were looking to take the 10-game road trip. They could have easily finished at 7-3, 6-4, maybe. Ended up going 5-5 with that tough series against the Diamondbacks.
No, don't get me started on that, because that started. If you would have looked back on was it Saturday night or Friday night when Goldschmidt got hit?
Goldschmidt got hit in the hands on Friday night. And then top of the ninth inning, a Pirates win. So what happened Saturday?
So Saturday night, they go ahead and they go through the whole game, and they wait until the the eighth inning,
eighth or ninth
inning, and they go ahead and hit McCutchen. No, actually, take it back. They didn't hit him. They missed him the first time when they were trying to hit him. They tried to throw a strike to him on the second pitch, and then good old what's Montero's first name?
Miguel Montero.
Miguel Montero. He goes ahead and gives an obscene gesture to go ahead and hit McCutchen, which they nailed him directly in the spine.
95 miles per hour.
95 miles, and the guy walks off the mound, and he knew he was going to get thrown out, didn't even wait for any reaction, and then he's gone. And this is it. These unwritten rules in baseball have just gotten ridiculous. How can you... Everyone assumes that this is not, or everyone knows that this was not an intentional hit batsman.
Ernesto Frieri hitting Paul Goldschmidt, right.
He stepped into the pitch.
He even looked like he was offering, almost a check swing.
He stepped into the pitch. Goldschmidt said it wasn't intentional. Everybody knew it on both sides of the field, knew it was unintentional. So why do you go ahead and hit your best player on the opposing team the next night? And then Tony La Russa comes out and says, oh, we're taking some criticism here. I mean, when you hit our best player, then we have the right to hit your best player. Well, there's a little bit of a difference there. If it's an intentional, if you hit the other guy intentionally, everybody admits that this was not an intentional.
Even Goldschmidt himself says it wasn't intentional. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's going to probably say that anyway because he has. But Kurt Gibson, who I have no respect for anymore, same as La Russa. How is that fair? If say Goldschmidt was hit in the middle of that game.
In the middle.
First of all, he wasn't even supposed to be in the game. He was getting a rest.
Yep, they brought
so
him in
why
late in
did
the
Kurt
game.
Gibson put him up in a game in which they were down by five runs?
Yep.
Why would you even put him up there?
Yeah, pointless move. And
stupid move on his part. But the unwritten rules of baseball say you have to hit now. You have to hit somebody. If you're going to hit him, you go ahead and hit him the next day. Bob Gibson or one of these other pitchers was on the mound. You hit their guy, boom, you're going to get plunked, and you know it.
Yep.
And it used to be. I'm old enough to know this. It used to hit a scrub on the other team. Now you go after the best player.
Yeah, always.
Now you hit the best player. Yeah. When did that come about?
Even on Sunday, they said Miguel Montero wasn't even in the lineup, and there's nobody else in the Diamondbacks lineup worth hitting because they're all scrubs.
Yeah,
so.
And it's just very frustrating. I don't even know if there's any. Did they appeal that or
no suspensions, no fines, nothing.
There's not going to be any suspensions.
There
or fines.
could be, but I don't think it's going to happen. I honestly don't think it's going to happen.
Kurt Gibson should be suspended big time. What was the guy's name that was pitching?
Randall Delgado.
Delgado. He should be suspended big time. And Montero should be suspended big time. That was such a low class move on everybody's part on that team. It's just absurd. They can go ahead and make all these rules for home plate. You can't go in front of can't get in front of the plate.
Can't block the plate.
When both guys are just trying to do their job, but yet you can plunk a guy and nail him in the spine, which you probably could have.
You could have hurt him there. I mean, he did get hurt the next day,
big time. Yeah. But they're worried about a catcher getting hurt when both guys are. When the more rules you make, sometimes the more you put guys off their guard, and that's when you do get hurt. But yet you can nail somebody with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and not get any. There's no punishment for it.
It's a shame.
Okay, my blood pressure's starting to go down.
I could tell you feeling you got it all off your chest now.
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Well, one more topic before we move on. The trade deadline has come and gone. One of the biggest trade deadlines in baseball history, really, with the players that were moved. But the Pirates didn't make a move at all. Do you think that was smart, or do you think they should have tried to? I know they tried to make some moves, but do you think they should have made a trade to bolster something?
I really don't think. We're not privy to what conversations.
We don't know what's going on.
It seemed to have come down to the teams that were getting rid of the guys that they want to get rid of.
Yeah.
Were teams that were good teams. They wanted current
They want a major
talent, major league talent instead of prospects. And if that's the case, then who are the Pirates going to get?
Right.
There were some rumors that Marte or somebody was
Marte or even Alvarez, but a competing team doesn't need that.
No, also, the Pirates aren't going to do that because they don't want to trade one of their starting players to get another, a pitcher that they're only going to rent for a little, for a couple months possibly.
I mean, we had the prospects to make a trade. It seems like they were willing to part with some of our top prospects, but you and me both agree that it's good that we didn't give up any of those guys for 2 months.
Other people disagree. They said we should have done something. You very seldom get, which is true. You don't know what, just like we just talked about the injuries. You don't know what injuries are going to come up next year or the year after, and you have that window of opportunity when you're that close. Yep. And I really don't think there are that many teams, other than the Dodgers, in the National League that are head and shoulders above the rest. After you have the Dodgers, maybe the Nationals.
Right, but our Central Division, everyone's on an equal playing field.
And the same way with the Giants and the Braves. I think everybody has as good a shot as anybody.
Yeah, even with the trades that the Cardinals made to get some pitchers, it's nothing overwhelming. The Brewers signed, or they traded for Geraldo Parra, an outfielder, but nothing that's going to take them over at the top two. So we're still competing. I think we're on a level playing field with what our guys are.
People will complain about the Pirates, but I saw somewhere where the Cardinal fans were furious with what the Cardinals did. Yeah, they were accusing them of cutting salaries and all that stuff by getting Lackey, because I think he's only going to be making $500,000 or something. Really? But it's one of those things you don't know what went on in the conversations, how close they were to making a deal. But chances are maybe we were close, maybe we weren't. Who knows? If it came down to prospects versus current players, it might have been one of those things that just couldn't work out. It takes two teams.
Seems like that's what it could have been. Mm-hmm. But we're still right in the thick of things, and there's still a couple months of the season left to be played.
I think there are 49 games left.
Let's make the most of them.
And we are back, and it's time again for the exciting segment, Show and Tell. And what do you have for us today, man?
Well, Fred, as you can see, I'm playing with the ball over here that I got at the NLDS games that were played at PNC Park against the St. Louis Cardinals. Pirates won one of those games at home and won one on the road in that series. But unfortunately, we fell to the Cardinals in St. Louis in 5 games. But it was cool to be there for some of those playoff games in Pittsburgh.
Cool. Nice-looking ball.
Something I always got like an opening day ball or an interleague ball that they commemorate some of the games during the regular season, but nothing beats something to honor the Pirates' first playoff.
You're going to take us into the back and hit it around a little bit?
Sure.
Go back and forth?
Sure thing. You want to come out there and play catch with me?
No, you don't want to do that to that ball. Are you kidding me?
We'll do it with this ball. How about that?
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, we'll try that.
Ask the experts. Ask the experts. Ask the experts. Ask the experts.
Just like the parrot says, it's time for Ask the Experts, otherwise known as ATE.
ATE. And you ready to go there, Matt?
Yep, reach in there. Pick me out a good one.
We thank you people again for the hundreds of questions we had in this week. And the first one for you, Matt, is what is the hardest position to play on the field? By Mary Kay of Steubenville.
Okay. Truthfully, I think it's either, it almost depends on where you're playing. I mean, it could be an outfield position in maybe left field in PNC Park with how deep it is out there. But I think universally, it's got to be shortstop.
Yeah.
You got to have good range to your left and to your right. You're almost the center fielder of the infield playing shortstop. You're kind of directing everything. And
what do you think a catcher?
A catcher, true, and a pitcher too. I mean, how much to pitch?
Well, I think pitching skill wise.
Right.
Shortstop, probably athleticism.
Yeah, because you saw that play the other night by Jordy Mercer, how far he had to go back out in the hole and get that. I mean, he made 2 nice plays the other night. The first one, he didn't get the guy out, but you have to have incredible arm strength and to get the ball from deep in the hole with shortstop over to first base on a good throw. So I guess let's say if we have to name the top 2, it's probably catcher and shortstop.
I agree with that. Ready for number 2?
Yep, bring it on.
Question number 2. Do you remember your first Pirate game? From Kool-Aid of Martins Ferry.
Okay. I might be dating myself here, but not as much as you, that's for sure.
No,
my first game was I remember it was 1992. I don't remember it, but I was told it was 1992 at Three River Stadium. I don't remember who they were playing.
Playoff year.
Yeah, that was, and I think it was like in August or September. I was 3 years old, and we went there. But the one I kind of remember was 1994. I remember driving to the stadium. We were on our way from Youngstown, Ohio, to Pittsburgh, and my dad had the radio on, and that's when they said that the MLB, there was the strike happened. Like, we were ready to go to the game that night.
Oh yeah, that was the All-Star year.
Yeah, it was after the Pirates hosted the All-Star game, but then it was shortly after that. We were on our way to the game, and we had to drive back because the game was canceled, because the rest of the season ended up being canceled. And I remember that being excited to go to a game at 5 years old, and we couldn't. It was almost as bad as a rain delay, but again, it was the entire season was washed out.
Oh man, that was 1994. Man, I got like underwear is that old.
You probably do, and you're probably wearing it now.
I think no, it'd be a little too small. But I think mine was. I remember we going to Forbes Field. I think it was Clemente Bat Night, Clemente Bat Night, and I remember they were about that long. And I wish I would have kept that. We used that behind the house, but that was our first game. I remember sitting out in right field and seeing Clemente.
Forbes Field.
It was just incredible.
You are old.
Yes, I am.
And it's now time for you to answer a question. Use some of that knowledge over the years.
Okay.
Would you consider trading one of our starting pitchers now or in the offseason? Would it be a Francisco Liriano, Edison Volquez, Charlie Morton? We'll look to move on.
Boy, that's a...
Let me see what this is sent in by. Joe Z of Martins Ferry as well.
That's a good question, because that's one of those ones that if you're in the race, do you want to get rid of guys, or like say the Pirates collapsed
in the next couple of weeks?
In the next couple of weeks, would you? I guess you would consider trading Liriano
to get something for it if he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year,
Volquez or something. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't really think they'd come under some real criticism if they would try to trade somebody right now.
And I think with all the waiver trade deadline set up, I mean, I don't know if that's something they do now instead of. Well, I mean, you're right. If they do collapse, it might be looking to do something.
They still got about 3 weeks to go.
Okay, it's by the end of August. So, and I think that they might be worried about maybe bringing in a piece to help them in the long run.
And other teams, other teams would jump on the opportunity to get a guy like Liriano, like the way he pitched last year.
And even Volquez, he's not. I mean, they're both two strong starters that could fit in anybody's rotation.
Yeah, I don't think I would do anything right now.
Yeah, you're right. Our last question, same thing. Will the Pirates make a trade in August? Sent in by RDV of Newcastle.
I think that would depend again on how close they are to being right in the race. Which, again, like we just said, I don't think there's any team other than the Dodgers in the National League that's anybody that's head and shoulders above each other there from the rest of the teams in the race. Heck, even the Marlins and the Mets are on the fringe of it. If you go, they're only like 5 games.
There's so many teams that are around 500, above 500 that still have a legitimate mathematical
I think they're going to do something, but then again, this is a case of where do you go? Which direction you go in? Do you go to first base? Do you go to right field because you got a right fielder out there? You got the McCutchen injury. Now you don't even know what's going on with Neil Walker. What about Pedro? Yeah. I mean, actually, it's amazing. What are they, 7-8 games over 500? It's amazing that they're there right now, because in the last 2 or 3 weeks, everything has come.
They've played. I mean, they're not playing their best baseball of the year now, but they're still consistent.
They're keeping their heads above water.
They're winning series. They've been working all season, kind of at the same pace almost, but just garnering more wins.
They're not the team that's going to rattle off like 8-9 wins in a row, but it doesn't seem like they're the same type of team that's going to lose that many games in a row. They seem to be able to pull it together after a couple games that they've lost in a row like that.
I saw a stat when they score more than 4 runs, we've only lost like 16 games, but when we score less than 4 runs,
I know there's some amazing
40
stats.
Losses,
there's some amazing stats too with day games versus night games and all that. But we got
3 weeks
49, 50 games left. It's going to be exciting. I mean, you can't. That's all you can ask for at this time of year.
Just compete, and that's what we're doing. So make sure you stick with us on Bucco Banter, because it's going to be an exciting end of the season. Send in those questions. Our hat is empty. We need them. And continue to keep watching us here on Bucco Banter.
See you again next time on Bucco Banter.
Mental mistakes.
All right, stop, reset.
You're just like us, sweet.
Just like the real Fred.
Okay.
That was perfect.
Nicely done.
Good job.
Yes,
Just like
I
a chip off the old block.
No, he isn't. I don't know. You must have got that gene from your mom.
Good job. I'm kind of lightheaded now after holding that thing up.
Yeah, you smelled the fumes too much.